Lumia turned to Mina, Toby, Nina, and Andrea with a faint smile, then bowed her head in farewell. Lumia flew back into the glowing forest, surrounded by a soft blue light that gently embraced her. Suddenly, a dense shadow shot past Lumia at high speed, heading straight toward the valley. The dark shadow swept past Mina's group in a swift blur, narrowly missing them. Everyone froze in shock, their hearts skipping a beat. What was that? Mina turned to follow the shadow with her eyes, her face filled with curiosity and confusion. Whatever it is, we need to be careful, Andrea murmured, her brows furrowed in concern. Mina and her friends began to carefully make their way into the Valley of Slumber, each step taken with quiet caution. A chilly breeze swept through, carrying with it strange whispers that drifted eerily through the air. Toby came to an abrupt halt and pointed ahead. "Look over there!" he exclaimed, as if he had just spotted something unusual. An image of Elderbell Village engulfed in flames hovered before them, so lifelike it felt almost tangible. Mina's voice trembled as tears welled up in her eyes. "It can't be real, right?" she whispered, her fear wrapping around her like a cold fog. Mina stepped closer, her eyes wide with disbelief. She couldn't trust what she was seeing. Every part of her told her this couldn't possibly be real. "It's just an illusion! Keep moving!" Mina called out, and slowly, she and Andrea began to regain their senses. They hadn't even caught their breath when the sound of wings fluttering echoed overhead. Instinctively, they looked up. A swarm of giant vampire bats dived at them. Mina and Andrea quickly moved to defend. Toby grabbed a branch and swung it wildly, trying to drive them off, but there were just too many. Mina raised her hands and cast a shield spell, protecting the group just in time. The bat slammed against the shield in a frenzy. Mina spread her hands, focusing hard to strengthen the barrier. Andrea and Nina pressed their hands forward, pouring their strength into the shield beside Mina. At last, the swarm retreated. Exhausted but unbroken, Mina and her friends remained standing. A low growl rumbled from the mist ahead. Everyone froze. Something was out there. Vidaros emerged slowly, a towering figure cloaked in shifting shadows. His body seemed to flow like living darkness, never still. "That's him," Toby whispered, his eyes widening in terror as the realization struck Vidaros had returned. Vidaros let out a thunderous roar that shook the ground beneath them. The mist ahead burst apart, blown away by the force. "Stay together, we can do this," Mina called out, steadying herself as she stepped forward to face Vidaros once more, determination burning in her eyes. Vidaros unleashed a beam of crimson light, shooting toward Mina and her friends with blinding speed. Mina cast a defensive spell in a flash, conjuring a wall of light to block the attack. "Flank him! Distract him!" Andrea commanded, signaling Toby and Nina to circle around from the other side. Toby and Nina dashed to Vidaros' flanks, searching for an opening to strike. Vidaros launched a stream of black smoke at Toby, but he darted aside just in time. Nina fired a blast of blue light from her hands, aiming to distract Vidaros and draw his attention away. It worked. Vidaros roared in rage, shaking the ground with another furious tremor. Seizing the moment, Mina gathered every ounce of her magic and unleashed a bolt of lightning straight into Vidaros' shadowy heart. The lightning surged through Vidaros' entire body, crackling with raw energy as he let out a scream of agony. Vidaros began to falter, his strength waning, yet his will to fight still burned. Andrea advanced, channeling the gem's light into a sharp beam that struck Vidaros head-on. Vidaros' body trembled violently before he let out a final deafening roar and then dissolved into a swirl of dark smoke. Vidaros' body trembled violently before he let out a final deafening roar and then dissolved into a swirl of dark smoke. Silence fell over the valley once more, as the trembling earth slowly came to rest. "We did it," Toby and Nina said, crouching down with tired but proud smiles. Still, they pressed on, weary but determined, into the endless sea of mist that stretched before them. Toby and Nina walked on slowly, the weight of exhaustion clearly pressing down on them. Mina came to a halt, turning back to her friends with a look of quiet sympathy. "Let's rest for tonight. We all need it," Mina said gently, suggesting they find a place to make camp. Before long, they came upon a small stream by the path and began to make camp, gathering around a modest fire under the open sky. Nina built a small fire at the center, and they sat around it, their bodies heavy with fatigue. Toby stared into the fire, lost in thought, letting out a sleepy yawn as fatigue crept over him. Mina looked at us quietly and asked, "Andrea, Why did you join us? Andrea fell silent for a moment, then began to speak in a soft voice, her story unfolding gently in the quiet night. Andrea spoke softly, revealing that she was born into a lineage of those who carried ancient magical power. She spoke of the curse of the Forsaken Grounds, a dark legacy her family had been bound to since ancient times. Andrea admitted, her voice tinged with guilt and sorrow, that part of the curse had originated from her own ancestors. Mina looked at Andrea with eyes full of quiet sympathy. Toby clenched his fists with quiet determination, ready to stand and fight alongside them. Mina offered Andrea a warm, reassuring smile, her eyes shining with quiet encouragement. Andrea's chest tightened with emotion. She gave a sad little smile, her eyes glimmering with a quiet hint of hope. The group sat comfortably around the fire, their voices soft and steady, beneath a sky veiled in mist. A gentle breeze swept through the valley, mingling with the soft murmur of flowing water and the hush of peaceful silence. One by one, Mina and her friends drifted off to sleep beside the fire, wrapped in the quiet serenity of the valley. A new day dawned bright, with sunlight piercing gently through the thick morning mist. Mina's group set off with renewed spirits, their steps lighter after a night of much-needed rest. Andrea suddenly spotted something ahead. "Who's there?" she asked, instinctively readying herself to fight. A white spirit appeared with grace, holding a glowing green gem amid the gray mist of the valley. "Are you ready to prove yourselves?" the white spirit asked, its voice cold and piercing. Suddenly, Vidaros's dark shadow lunged toward the white spirit with blinding speed. The white spirit and the dark shadow collided and merged, releasing a burst of light that spread across the land. Vidaros appeared, reborn and furious. "I will destroy you all!" he roared. Mina sighed, her shoulders sinking. "Oh no, not him again," she muttered, weariness in her voice as she faced Vidaros once more. Mina and Andrea joined forces, casting a blazing spell that shot straight at Vidaros. The blast of light struck Vidaros head-on, but as the glow faded, he stood unfazed, a cruel smile spreading across his face. Toby stared in disbelief. "No way. Our magic didn't even scratch him," he whispered, despair creeping into his voice. Vidaros attacked, his dark power surging forward like a living shadow. Vidaros's fierce dark energy shot straight toward Nina, but she leapt aside just in time, narrowly escaping the blast. "This isn't good. We need another way," Andrea warned the group, her voice tense with urgency. Vidaros let out a mad roar as his power exploded, surging in all directions. Vidaros's dark power struck Mina and her friends, knocking them to the ground with pain written on their faces. "Unbelievable! How can we ever beat him?" Toby murmured as he and Mina stood frozen, their faces heavy with despair. Suddenly, the Gem of Awakening floated toward Mina and her friends, glowing with a mysterious light. As they touched the gem, a surge of magic rushed through them, their powers rising in a strange, sudden burst. Toby and Andrea looked at themselves in awe, their eyes wide with excitement as they felt their magic surge to new heights. With their magic newly awakened, Mina and Andrea joined forces, summoning the Stone of Sealing to strike against Vidaros. Sensing Mina's move, Toby and Nina unleashed the Elder Aldous' gift, feeding its power into the Sealing Stone. Together, the four summoned a powerful silver sealing stone, etched with ancient runes to trap the darkness. Vidaros' form began to turn into black smoke, slowly drawn into the silver sealing stone piece by piece. At last, Vidaros was completely pulled into the silver sealing stone, leaving nothing behind but silence. "It's done," Mina whispered with a weary smile. She knew she couldn't destroy Vidaroso. She chose to seal him away instead. "I thank you all." A white spirit floated out from the sealing stone, her voice gentle as she expressed her gratitude to Mina and her friends. The white spirit gently offered the gem to Mina. "Guard the power of awakening with a pure heart," she said softly. "I'll take good care of it," Mina said, gazing at the gem with a joyful smile. "Hooray! We've got 2 gems now, just 1 more to go." Toby and Nina cheered, jumping up and down with excitement. "I shall guard it for all eternity," the white spirit said, walking slowly toward the silver sealing stone. "This isn't the end. We still have to keep going," Andrea said calmly, her face as cold and composed as ever. "Let's get out of this valley," Toby exclaimed cheerfully, raising his hand with enthusiasm. Mina and her friends walked slowly out of the valley as a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, as if waving them farewell. Before long, they emerged from the valley and before them stretched a vast beach and an endless sea, reaching to the horizon. We're out of the valley. But where are we now? Mina asked. Her voice tinged with wonder as she looked around the unfamiliar beach. Looks like there's nothing out here. So, where do we go next? Toby asked, his voice filled with curiosity. Where do we go next? We only need one more gem, Mina murmured, pulling out the 2 gems and gazing at them thoughtfully. All at once, the 2 gems began to shine, casting a dazzling light that rose into the air in awe-inspiring brilliance. The light from the 2 gems merged, forming a vivid image of an island, shimmering in the air before them. I think maybe we need to go to that island, Mina said, her voice uncertain. It looks so far. Can we really make it? Mina asked, her voice filled with concern. How do we get there? How can we cross the sea to that island? Andrea asked quietly, her expression calm as always. We have no choice, everyone. We have to set sail, Mina said with determination. Their next destination, a mysterious island in the middle of the sea, where Mina and her friends must search for the final gem.